Hey guys, Catherine here. Today I am making a charm, and I'm going to make this charm as part of the Cuckoo Clock collaboration. This is a collaboration making different pieces of art inspired by Jack and the Cuckoo Clock Heart. The Jack and the Cuckoo Clock Heart is a movie that was produced in 2014. Well, I shouldn't say produced. I don't know when it was produced necessarily. It was released in 2014, and it is a movie about a boy named Jack who was born on the coldest day of the year, and so had a cuckoo clock heart. And these movie goes on. Then this is everything that's in the first 5 minutes. It's not spoiling anything to tell you that. But the movie then goes on to tell you about his life and what happens, and I will just have to leave it up to you to find that out because I don't want to spoil it for you if you haven't seen it yet. It is a really excellent movie, and I absolutely do recommend it. Aside from that, since this is a collaboration, I am going to include a link in the description below to my co-conspirators. I absolutely do also recommend going and checking their channels out and seeing what they do for this collaboration and what kind of art they put together for it. I've seen some pictures so far and it looks amazing. There will also be a playlist put together, so if you aren't already in that playlist, go ahead and get onto that playlist too, and then you can check them all out. The first thing that I did, I should probably tell you what I'm doing now. I am making the hat that Jack wears when he is working as a frightener on the ghost train, and it is a top hat, which is black, and I know you're looking at this and saying, but Catherine, you have red Sculpey in your hands, and yes, I do. It is black with a red hat band and a red top, and on top of the red top there is a white skull. So I am going to, in order to make a hat, a top hat, in fact I'm doing a top hat charm, I've started by making a cylinder that is flat at both ends and is slightly narrower at one end as compared to the other, because it is a fantasy top hat, and all fantasy top hats are larger at the top than they are at the brim. Well, at the base anyway, not necessarily the brim. Then that gives me that cylinder, so that is what I'm going to start off with. Then I'm going to set that aside for now. That and the other pieces of red and the white, and actually I'll clean off the red from my hands because red polymer clay stains everything red. And then I'm going to take my black and I am going to first roll it into a round ball, then take and flatten it, not exactly perfectly, just flat enough, and then take my dotting tool and roll it out flatter so that it's even-ish, sort of, kinda. Anyway, I think I already mentioned it's an excellent movie, but it bears repeating. It is an excellent movie, and I absolutely recommend checking it out and seeing what it's about and watching it if you've got the time, because it is really good. I think I want that thinner. So I'm just gonna keep rolling it until it's the thickness that I want it to be, which may take just a moment. But I'm having a lot of fun with this collaboration. I sat down and rewatched the movie with a sketchbook in hand to try and decide what I wanted to draw. And, I was sketching things out and writing ideas down for different things. Not draw. to decide what I wanted to do for this collaboration. I didn't know necessarily that I wanted to do a charm, but the movie is kind of a nerd thing. Enjoying the movie, having a fandom is kind of a nerd thing. And my nerd thing, doing things for the fandoms that I enjoy, is making charms. So I kind of had the idea that that's where this was going to go for me anyway. And it is, which is fine. And is really awesome, and is another charm that I can add to my charm chain. Go. All right, and then what I want to do is at one side turn this over so that the large end is facing down. See, and that's, I'm just worried I'm not going to get a perfectly round circle, and it doesn't necessarily have to be the width of the top hat, but I do want it to be round. And I think I will use the cap of a bottle, maybe? Let me grab this and compare it in size. Yeah, oh, that'll work. Okay. So I'm just going to take this. This is just the top of a henna bottle. I'm just going to, sorry if I get my head in the shot here. I'm trying to line it up to the other side, the side that's farther away from me. Line it up, and then press it down. Okay, now I got to try and figure out how to get it out of here. I think a toothpick. For goodness sakes. Somebody is having a fit in the other room. And by somebody, I mean Blueberry. You can hear him, that's my bird Blueberry. He's a butt. Okay, there we go. And then just even back out that split, because I am going to play around with the edge of this, but I don't want it to be messed up just yet. I want it to be messed up the way that I want it to be messed up. Not just in any old way. Set that aside, because that'll give us the brim of the hat. And then take this and check and see if I can get it quite, not quite. Okay, that's fine. Just take a bit of this and lay it to the side in order to encourage it to be a little bit wider. And then take our rolling, well, I use a daughter, but you use whatever you use for rolling things out. And roll it out just a little bit thinner, trying to keep it even and flat, because we're going to use it to wrap the top, or the sides of the top hat. Sorry, not the top, the sides. We're going to use it to wrap the sides of the top hat. There we go. Okay, and I think that's about as good as it's going to get. Let's check. Yeah, that should go all the way around. All right, now cut this off straightish. Oh, come on, you. Straightish. And set that aside. And then pick this up and lay it straight up and down and roll it around, trying to keep it smooth and even, and yes, it will go all the way around. Perfect. Okay. And then I do want to grab my X-Acto knife and cut it off through both black layers so that I can then peel them both off and end up with a even seam so that it's only one single layer of black all the way around and I don't have this weird lumpy bit on one side. All right, lift and pull out, and then lay it back down on so that it lines up, and it stretched just a little bit because of course it did. There we go. Take that off and sort of just roll my toothpick over it a little bit just to sort of smooth it out for now. Smooth that seam so that you can't see it as much. And then cut off the excess at the top and the bottom. And just taking small cuts and rolling it as I go along. And then evening it out. And there's the bottom. And then same thing for the top. Just small cuts all the way along. Trying not to cut the red, but leaving the excess black behind. And then setting that aside and evening it up. And then pinching the red outward just a little bit because there isn't too much of a line of black around the outside at the top, but the red is not visible from the outside if you're looking at an upward angle. There we go. Okay, so that gives us the upright portion of the top hat, barring the white skull on the top. I'm going to do the brim last, very last thing, because it's got some delicate swirly pieces that come off the sides, and I want to make sure that I get those right and not crush them while I'm working on other things. Okay, so I'm just patting it down and evening it out and making sure that everything comes together properly. And it is. Perfect. Okay. And I think I will just roll it just a little bit, just to straighten up the sides. Okay. And now to do the skull thing. Check my hands, make sure I'm not too very colored because I'm about to work with white Sculpey. This might be too much. Take a little bit off of that. I have an idea how I want to do the skull, so let's see if it turns out. That might still be too much. I'm taking just a little bit of white. Probably got just way too much white to start with, but whatever. There we go, that's more like it. And then rolling that as round as I can make it. And then squishing it flat, because the skull is sort of a, well, it's an animated film and it's sort of a cartoon skull. Go, and that's still too big. Okay, take a little bit off of there, set that little piece aside. I probably just squished it down too flat. That's okay. Go. All right, flatten it. That's more like it. All right, and then take and make a little bit of square out of this for the teeth, because it's, well, it is a skull, it doesn't have a lower jaw, so it's just the upper jaw that's on there, and it can line up right with the bottom of that. And then I can square it off, because it is pretty square. And then the defining characteristics of the skull are that the teeth are divided. So, yeah, X-Acto knife are divided, so divided, and then it has holes for the eyes. So I'm going to use my dotting tool for this because it's excellent for making round holes. And there we go, holes for the eyes all the way through so that you'll be able to see the red through it. And then a little dent for the nose. There we go. Okay, toss it on top of the hat and press it down, and then use the toothpick to sort of shape it in a little bit. I'm going to have to redefine those teeth, but that's okay. Alright, just straighten the eyes out. And I am, I think, filling those back in. I think I don't want the red to be visible through the eyes after all. There we go, and then redefine those teeth real quick. There we go, and that gives us the skull for the top of the hat. I'm going to just keep fiddling with it. I know it, I can tell. Anyway, now we get to move on to the brim. Alright, so I'm going to set the hat onto the brim. And settle it on good. And then pick it up and take my toothpick. And to either side of the hat, he has these little swirly bits which come out. So let's see if I can press down and pinch out a little swirly piece, and then curl it around my toothpick to curl one side up, and then do the same thing for the other side but curl it down. And then curl it down underneath. There we go. Okay, and then it needs the red hat band. So I've got this red. I'm going to pull off just a little bit of it, work it back into being soft again because it was sitting there long enough that it stiffened up just a little bit, and then roll it into a ball, and then roll it into a snake. See if I can get it to go evenly. Maybe, sort of, kind of. It's working out. Yeah, there we are. And then press it flat. And then lift it off of here without rolling it back up again. If I can manage it, which I think I can. Aha, there we go. Okay, and then cut the end square and drop it around the hat. And right down near the brim, if I can make it that way, and then slide it in behind that curl, sort of, kind of, hopefully. Nudge it downward, there we go. There we are. And then cut it off square. There we go, and then just even out the seams so that you can't see it. And recurl that curl. And then let's see if I can't nudge it down just a little bit there. Now, I probably shouldn't be using my knife for sculpting, but I am. And then I'm going to turn it over because I'm going to cook it with the skull side down and stick a pin in it. And let me just double check. Yeah, that should be all right. Actually, I might want to trim it up just a little bit, just a tiny bit off the end of the pin, just to make sure. And then set the pin down directly in through the bottom of the hat. That way it doesn't mess with the skull or any other part of it. There we go. And don't drop it. It hasn't been cooked yet. Oh, there it is. Straighten that back out. Smooth that a little bit. This is all just fiddling with it at this point. But there we have it. One skull top hat from Jack and the Cuckoo Clock Heart. This is what I did today. Participated in this collaboration to make charms for Jack and the Cuckoo Clock Heart. I would love to see what you're doing today. You can go ahead and share it with me in the comments below. I'd be more than happy to hear from you. Oh, remember to subscribe and remember to check out the other artists who are making things for this collaboration for Jack and the Cuckoo Clock Heart as well. It's a super cool movie and I can't wait to see the finished products for the other pieces of art that others are doing. So I would be super excited were I you to see those as well, because, well, I am excited. And you know, I have excellent taste. See you all later. Bye.